Hey guys, this is Crab Hunter, and welcome back to World of Tanks. Woo! And welcome to the Centurion Mk1 review. Yes, we have now finally elited this Tier 8 British medium tank, and I'm now able to purchase the Centurion Mk1. Very much looking forward to that. And with this tank, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Whilst I'm going to make sure this review is all about showing how good this vehicle is, I cannot say I enjoy this vehicle. In fact, I personally don't really find this vehicle to be much fun, if any. I'm not saying she's a bad vehicle, by all means, no. This review will hopefully show you guys, despite my opinions, that this thing is still worth the grind if you are into this kind of tanking. But for me, I just couldn't really get a good game in this thing. Like, the matchmaking for this thing is utter bollocks, in my opinion, and there's a few other things which personally I feel prohibit this thing from being amazing, but it's still, I still think I think there's just, I don't know, it's never really given me a good match. Like, in the matches I've had with this thing, because unfortunately this is also one of the first tanks I've had to free experience through because it just annoyed me to the highest degree, and I didn't want to end up with this thing being on my most hated list, so I thought, you know what, sod it, get everything, get some money, throw it in. Yes, I know it's technically cheating, but technically I've got the experience via other means, so screw you guys. And, just went through it. So I wanted to leave it on a good note. But no, the Centurion Mk1, I'm going to say right now, is not a bad tank. It's just whenever I was in it, I'd always get into the worst kind of matchmaking and even if it was a good game, it would be an okay game. Sort of a slightly under average game for me in this thing. But anyway, enough of the personal opinions aside, let's get started with the review. So, hit points. How many hit points do you have? Well, pretty decent, being at 1,450. So, let's have a look-see at your counterparts to see how they fare. Now, for once, we can actually go to the Chinese, shockingly. And because I don't own this vehicle, I can't 100% say for certain what its hit points are. But as most of the time when you get a new turret, it only gives you 100 hit points more, I can safely say that when you get the upgraded turret on this thing, it'll get 1,300 hit points. So that's 1,300 hit points for that. The French don't have any Tier 8 medium tanks. The Panther II, with its normal gets a very decent 1,400 hit points. So the upgraded turret would possibly give it 100 hit points extra, which would make it 1,500 in total. So better than you by 50, but not much. The Indian Panzer receives 1,300 because it only has one turret, so you're better than it by about 150. The American M26 Pershing medium tank has 1,350 to start with, so an extra 100 with that one gives it 1,450. And let's go to the Russians now. The Object 416 has a rather embarrassing 1,200 hit points, so 250 hit points more. The T-44 has 1,300 hit points. And finally, the STA with a fully upgraded turret. It has at stock it's 1,350, but with fully upgraded, it'll be the same 1,450 hit points. So, generally speaking, you are pretty much on top of the pack when it comes to for hit points, though a few other tanks share this same amount, so there isn't a distinct advantage, but you're certainly doing a lot better than, say, the Indian, definitely better than the 416, and a few other tanks. So, more or less, you're quite averagely good, I'd say, an averagely good amount of hit points. Now, onto weight and engine power. You weigh 45.37 tons with 3 equipment modules attached, and you have a maximum tonnage limit of 48 tons. This, in combination with your 750 horsepower, grants you a pretty decent 40 km/h speed limit. Yes, everyone grinding up to this point hoping that the Centurion was going to be a fast mover, fast shooter, well, go back to your history books because someone lied, or you just didn't check. Yes, the Centurion Mk1 isn't really a flanking kind of medium. While its traverse is very decent, being at 36 degrees, I would say, in my experience, this thing is best utilized as a sort of supportive medium, and the further down the list we go, the more it just proves my case. But no, this thing for speed and maneuverability, great maneuverability, can turn on a dime virtually, very nice to have, but unfortunately, as for speed, not so great. You can catch up with most heavy tanks, but unfortunately you will not be the first one on the line when it comes to faster scouts or faster medium tanks. Now, onto armor. The Centurion 1 doesn't really have any armor. Not at this tiering, no armor really. At the front you have 76mm, admittedly a lot more angled than the previous tank. 51 to the sides, no angling whatsoever. 38 to the rear. I'm just going to show you guys how little improvement this thing has over the previous tank. Right, so this is the Centurion Mk1 with its hull. Right, you can see there in the highlights the Comet with its hull. The Tier 7 tank that came before it. Same frontal armor. An improvement over the previous armor, but only by about, say, about 8mm worth. And finally, 6mm extra armor for the rear. Now, I realise that medium tanks aren't really designed to have more armor, otherwise they wouldn't be mediums. But this, I would assume there would be at least some improvement. But unfortunately, in the eyes of wargaming, nope, gotta have no armor. Now, of course, this isn't all bad news, as the turret is a pretty impressive 165mm at the front, 112 to the side, and 112 to the rear. While it's not the greatest side or rear, it's certainly got a very good frontal section here as well, covered mostly by the gun mantlet. How effectively it is covered by the gun mantlet? Well, let's go on to Tank Inspector to find out. So, here is the Centurion Mk1 on Tank Inspector, and here are the Centurion 7.1's armor values. Now, as you can see from the chart, there is a lot of armor there's a lot of red stuff around the turret, and as you can imagine, this frontal section here of 165 is pretty much the thickest amount of armor that on the hull that you will, well, on the turret at least, that you will receive for this entire vehicle. This turret armor also has benefits from utilizing the gun mantlet as well. Generally speaking, if you aim your shot at the gun mantlet or the frontal turret of this vehicle, you are most likely going to bounce, or probably the shot goes into the tank, but it does not penetrate and do any damage. It'll just go poof and nothing will happen. So not exactly the best idea to shoot at the frontal section of this turret, especially with over 200mm of spaced armor providing extra protection for that crew. For lower down the region, however, you will get a very nice 112 to the sides, and of course it does cover the rear. Though interestingly enough, it doesn't cover the entire turret, as that section is covered by 51mm. So generally speaking, if you are attempting to shoot at the front, if the only thing you can shoot at is the front of this turret, then ideally you could go for a shot here. Though it's difficult to say how high or low if in combat, because in most times, not that far away, but most times you'll probably have this to shoot at. So I would argue a good idea would be to shoot up here, as well as be careful about going up here, because this is kind of, if the enemy can get shots here, then you are they are guaranteed to go through it, as it only has an extra 50mm worth of armor to your vehicle. So the very weak point of armor can cause some problems. But going back up to the top of the tree, you'll note the cupola as well houses 112mm. Luckily for you, the cupola is a relatively small piece of equipment, so the only way the enemy could get shots into your cupola is if they were right up close to the sides, or if they're lucky, a shell might just go into the cupola, but it is unlikely that they will. Also, I believe these little extra wedgy things don't actually count, so I think they're like invisible in the sense of hitboxes. So luckily you won't have to worry about these things sneaking out on the sides, though I don't know whether they'll help you get detected or not. Either way, going further down the list, you'll note this interestingly odd strip of armor. This is the 110mm worth of armor from your upper glacis. Now, I've not really benefited too much from my hull armor. In fact, I think the worst thing about this vehicle for armor is its hull armor. So I can't really say that the 110mm has saved me. Maybe on the I don't think I've ever bounced anything on my hull, unless of course it was the most extreme, guaranteed to miss anyway angle possible. It's not really been a lifesaver in that sense. So going further down the list once again, there is a very interesting, probably not too important, bit of armor here on the turret. If I turn the turret to its side, there we go. There is a slab of 90mm worth of armor here, which doesn't really provide anything except a rather stupid token amount of resistance. Now, going to the hull armor, you will no doubt note the 76mm of frontal armor, which although is angled and is giving you a very nice 30 extra millimeters worth of armor, it only really gives you up to 110, maybe if you're lucky, 111, but generally speaking, nothing really too impressive. You can actually get better armor if you aim down on the under glaciers, so if you're going to shoot this thing, just shoot it in the upper glaciers, because there is no way, if a tank is facing you frontally, I mean, you can angle, but you have to be on an extreme angle in order to guarantee a miss or a ricochet, and that might make it harder because then the enemy could just go down into your gun. Unfortunately, this thing is bad because if it's like the enemy can't go for this part, they can certainly see this part, which is easier to kill. So you are kind of screwed in that regard anyway. So generally speaking, if you want to get damage done on this thing, just use its upper glaciers to shoot at. For the player itself, just hide this thing as much as possible. Big weak point here. Going further down the list, you do, once again, not only on the turret you get the 51mm, but also on the side. Now, the side does gets limited assistance from the spaced and track armor, which, like I said, it doesn't really provide that much protection, except for the extreme angle. So if you are the kind of person who utilizes this, you can side scrape your vehicle to an extent which can give you a much better armor rating. So side scraping is another technique you can utilize in combat if necessary, but once again kind of difficult to achieve in case anyone fires HE. But that is a technique you can utilize as well to give yourself a much better fighting chance if in combat. So the spaced armor does give you at least that amount of protection, which is rather nice. Further down the list, you will receive the 38mm of rear armor, which does what it says on the tin, gives you only 38mm worth of rear armor, flat as hell, so no problem with artillery going to pen you. Interestingly enough, a little slab of 30mm of armor on the driver's part and on the top of the turret, so if artillery does hit you here or any high explosive hits you here, it will pen and do potential of fall or if not slightly more damage. Oh dear. Going on to probably one of the bigger weak points of this vehicle, at least if you're being targeted by artillery, is this section here, which is only 18mm thick, and also has a problem with the 3 times. So yeah, no ricochet at all, and it's only applicable for AP and APCR shells, but it still means that artillery can find and hit you, so be careful on that. And finally, the last amount of hull armor you will receive is this 17mm, which covers the very much underside, which I didn't even realize was there until I opened it up, which gives you a very pointless 24mm, but still, someone's got to look at it, someone's got to make it, so I suppose it's worth something. So, really, for armor, this thing is very, very bad, except for the turret armor, which you can potentially utilize as a hull-down vehicle, and of course the side-scraping capacities as well. But like I said, this thing isn't really... I wouldn't say this thing is like a heavy which can easily bounce stuff. For me, I never really found the ability to use this thing's armors effectively enough, so not what I would say is the best thing for most brawling types. Though, another little warning as well, if I haven't mentioned it before, this thing unfortunately suffers from a fair amount of ammo racking. Unfortunately, I think the ammunition is stored right in the front, and that's where most people will be more inclined to shoot you. So be aware of that, perhaps getting your crew some safe stowage in case you are hit pretty badly by ammo racking. Anyway guys, I will take you now back to the garage. Now onto view range and signal range, and you get a very good combination of 400 of view range and 750 signal range. So Very good combo indeed, but how good is it against your counterparts? Well, let's have a look. The Chinese, with their T-34-2, fully upgraded turret, gives them 380 view range and a 750 signal range. So, they're not 20 meters better on the view range, but equal in the sense of radio. The Panther II receives, when fully upgraded turret, receives 390 meters worth of view range, so 10 less than you, but their radio is rather atrocious, being at 710. Unfortunately, the Fug 12 now starts to become less of a, or is becoming less useful and more annoying. The Indian Panzer, with only one turret, has 380 view range, and the signal for this is 720. So, better in most regards. So, for Germany, don't have to worry about them. They can't spot you as far, they can't see you very well, and they certainly can't radio better than you. The American Pershing tank, with fully upgraded turret, receives 400 view range, which is very decent for them, and a 745 signal range, so only just off the mark. So, potential threat for you. The Russians, well, we all know Russia doesn't really have the best of view ranges, but let's see how they make an attempt. This vehicle has 380, so not bad, and they get a proper Tier 10 radio, which gives them 760. Holy crap! So they're actually better than you by 10. Oh dear, that is embarrassing. Sorry, Russia. The Soviet T-44 has, with a total upgraded turret, 380 once again, and this time only 730. So the T-44 can't radio as well, but the 416 can. And finally, the STA Mk1, lots of tanks today, has 390 view range and a 750 signal range. So so for a lot of vehicles, it's pretty much the same amount of view range. It's pretty much the same signal range, and as for view range, you're pretty much up there. You're certainly on the higher tiers now when it comes to view range, which is certainly useful when it comes to supporting other medium tanks or heavy tanks as they advance along the line. So, and also super handy. Now, on to my favourite part of any review, the gun. Though unfortunately in this case, it's not quite so good. This is basically the gun that you get at top once you've grinded through everything. Before we go into the gun, let's talk about a few other little things. First of all, the guns that you start off with is this thing, I believe. Is it this thing? No, this is the thing that you get if you have the Black Prince coming off the Black Prince. If you've come up the other line like myself, you'll have had this to start off with. Not the best, I'll be honest with you. Quite a punishing gun to have at Tier 8. And it is quite nasty. So if you can either free experience your way up, or you are very fortunate and have a number of decent games, you then can get the 17-pounder. This gun does the job. It's not great, certainly not fun to work with, but then again, it does have a very good rate of fire, pretty good accuracy, aiming time's okay, and the damage is good for the pen. You can work it. Tier 8 tanks, you can work it. Even in Tier 9 games, you can work it. Tier 10, probably really going to struggle. But apart from that, pretty good. And once you've gotten everything sorted and you've got this gun... Now, I'm going to talk to you guys, because this gun here... I'll talk to you honestly. There is one feature about this gun that I don't like. And in my opinion, I'm going to also say right now, this is my opinion, kind of breaks the Centurion for me. It's the thing that makes me just go, ah. Right, so let's have a look. So the gun itself, 83.4 caliber. Not entirely sure what the .4 means, but whatever. 7.5 rate rounds per minute. Very good 226 standard, 258 premium, and 42 high explosive. Though, if you're going under 100mm for high explosive and you're firing that, you are really stupid. I'm sorry, it's just dumb. 230 damage on each of the calibers. So basically, the only downside to this is that you will receive shots where it doesn't go above 200. You'll have like 180 or 190. It's not great, but it does the job. A very good, but then it said it's got a very good 0.33 accuracy and a 2.3 second aiming time. And you may not have this, what I'm going to tell you right now is that I have wrong with this. You may not have wrong with it at all, but for me, it really pisses me off. It's the rate of fire. If you got that, brilliant. If you haven't, doesn't matter, because this thing just annoys me with this. Gah. Yeah, this is the thing that really hacks me off about this gun, about this tank. It's like, what it does is it basically tells me I can't really use this in a close-up snatch. Like, because you're a medium tank, you're expected to do a lot of maneuvering about, and medium to close range engagements is a more common thing to have for you, especially with this vehicle if you're moving with the heavies. So, to have a very low rate of fire, and that being 7.65, you know, the actual seconds you have is 7.65, this, for me, is way too slow. This thing, it just ruins the experience of this tank, because it means that you've got to hopefully A, get a high roll, and B, hit and pen, in order to feel justified with that shot. And I think the amount of damage that you're getting with each shell is not worth the rate of fire. And it's even more gutting if you're being put into tier 10 games, which this thing for some reason has a lot of. Like, seriously, most of the games I've played, tier 10 engagements. So, generally speaking, everything else about this gun is fine. I just think they need to buff the reload, because, goddamn, 7.65 seconds? Bullshit. That's way too long. I mean, I'll give you a good example of why this thing is too long. The Indian Panzer, 608 rounds a minute. That's the reload of this gun. The Tiger 1 from a previous tier with a higher caliber, 5.65. Just stupid. But anyway, enough of that. Yes, this is my biggest flaw with the tank, is just the reload on this gun. It's way too long. It means that on more than one occasion, for me example, more than one occasion, there'll be a game-changing moment where you either live to tell the tale or you die and lose the game. And because of the reload on this thing, I died and lost the game because of it. That's what pisses me off about this vehicle the most. But like I said, personal opinions aside, this thing may work for you. Apart from the reload, it is an absolutely adequate gun. Perfect in every other form, you know. The damage, yeah, could have a little bit more, but considering the caliber, you know, it works. As everything else except the reload. Now, onto equipment and crew skills. This is basically where I tell you what stuff to put in your tank to make it awesome, and what skills to put in your crew to make it epic. First of all, let's talk about the equipment. For equipment, naturally you want to have vents and rammer, despite the shit reload. It's even worse without the equipment, so get it. Your third option is as always up to you, but here's what I would recommend. I think the number one recommendation for this vehicle, under most circumstances, is a vertical stabilizer Mk1. Because you're a medium tank, this thing very much, and you're going to be firing a lot on the move, I have found that the vertical stabilizer on this vehicle is very much worth it. I've been able to pull off some rather ridiculous shots simply because of turning the turret and firing, being able to get a nice shot into the side or, you know, rear of certain vehicles. So definitely a number one recommendation. However, if you're not really inclined to spend 500,000 on something like this, then maybe an enhanced gun laying drive would probably be your better choice. Or perhaps maybe binos to help you spot targets from further away. Also, they're not complex equipment, so you possibly will find that it's helping you out a bit when it comes to economic savings. But number one recommendation is definitely the vertical stabilizer, after which either enhanced gun laying if you want a sniper, or if you really want to be a sniper, you can go for the bino telescope. Either way. But no, generally I would say vertical Mk1. Now on to crew skills. For your commander, you will definitely be needing him to get 6th sense. Obviously train one skill up to 100%, then get one skill to 100%, then another one to 40. Drop that and you've got 100% for that. After which, nothing really important, just repairs and then whatever you see fit. For your gunner, I would highly recommend you get Snapshot as a first skill, train that to 100%, drop that for Deadeye, then go straight back to Snapshot, as this skill assists you in, not only improves the accuracy of your turret rotation, but also works in conjunction with the vertical stabilizer. Very nice indeed. Your driver, obviously clutch braking first. Then the second skill could be off-road driving. This gives you extra, reduces the resistance to the ground if you're on moderately soft or soft terrain. Now you have a choice for your third skill, either smooth ride, which assists you in shooting on the move, or if you don't mind training repairs or something else to 100%, preventative maintenance, or hell, even smooth ride then dropping that for preventative maintenance, which stops your tank from setting alight when you're shot. I've not really had many occasions where I have been set on fire, but it's certainly not a bad idea to go for it. Finally, your radio man, who also is a loader. For me, I would say focus on the loading skills, and more primarily the skill safe stowage. It's a perk, so unfortunately you have to train another skill to 100% before you can really utilize this, but because this vehicle in particular suffers a lot from ammo racking, you may need to consider getting this. I mean, this doesn't mean that you will never get... this doesn't mean like you're completely safe from ammo racking now, but it certainly gives it an extra amount of durability, which more durability is better than no durability. After which you may want to go to having something like repairs or situational awareness or signal boosting. Either way, everything else kind of alright. Or if you want to stick with a loader skill, maybe give you guys that extra second worth of reload at the last possible moment. Might save you, who knows. But generally speaking, loaders just get safe stowage. Most important thing of all. Okay, well, now that we've done the talking side of this, let's get into a couple of games on the live action, because I don't actually have any replays for you that are particularly impressive. And we're back, and we are in a Tier 10 game, unsurprisingly. Yes, this thing does get a lot of Tier 10 games, in my experience, and I very much feel sorry for you, my friend, who is going through the exact same woe and troubles that I went through. You have my sympathies. Yeah, you will get a lot. I had so many Tier 10 games in this thing. Let's just lower the sound a bit, because I might need to... There we go. That works. That works. So anyway, yes. As you can see, for maneuverability, you can get up to a relatively decent 30 kilometers per hour. So your acceleration isn't too bad, and certainly your traversing is absolutely brilliant. So no problems at all with traversing, but you're not a fast medium anymore. You're not really going to be, and no one's going into the Batchat and a T30. While everyone's going over there, and an AMX, I might just take a slightly more defensive arc along here, just in case, because there are literally no one else. I mean, we've got loads of heavy tanks, and they're all going, admittedly, in the right direction towards the... Is that a rock? That is a rock, so I can take up defenses. There is a fair amount more medium tanks. That Bulldog is dead. Sorry, Bulldog. You really didn't have a chance. Help. There's bad guys there. Giving our chance. And the Centurion, I think, has actually... Whoa, my god, he actually paid attention. No, the Centurion is alive, but he has taken his time to react. But too late. No, you're fine. Hopefully. There's the 50. Nope. There's the 1390. Let's move to try and save the artillery whilst we're on the way. Waffenträger E100 is here. We've gotten a kill. First one on our side now. And Gewehr E100 got them. Ah, bugger. Well, at least it wasn't any of those things. Okay. And, of course, he's naturally raging. Ah, Batchat's down. Good to see. Hey, there's a kill. Been spotted. And... second kill? No, that bounced. Lol. No, lol. Right, reloading. Reloaded. E50 is spotted. Fire. Ooh, a high roll as well. Luckily... Ah, fuck it, I'm pulling back. I've been hit. Of course, you know, everyone having a rage at me because, you know, one medium tank couldn't possibly spot everything. And, oh, he got killed. Well, Yeah, our team did make a major mistake on that regard. I'm now completely on my own. Well, to be honest with you, I haven't really had too much. Yeah, right. I'm sorry, mate. No chance. How about the tank that's meant to scout go scout? How about that? You know, because I'm a medium tank that got fucked over by artillery. Do you honestly think I'm willing to go? Finally, he agrees. Someone agrees. Well, so far we're about equal for kills, but I think really the biggest problem is that we need to knock their scumbags out. If we knew that their scumbags were down, brilliant. Most of our tier 8 tanks are also in a bit of a lurch. I'm going to kind of stay here for a few seconds more. Okay, the T-49's going. I'll try and support. If I can get into the rocks, I can at least provide spotting cover. There we go. Well, that's only because I'm T-50. Ah, there's the T-30. Been spotted. Ooh, high damage roll. Miss, of course. Been spotted, been spotted, been spotted. Got him! Take cover, take cover, take cover. Move up carefully. He's a big threat. We are losing a bit. The enemy are slowly gaining ground. There's only... Yep, they've lost. We've kind of lost the top there. E-100 possibly shouldn't have moved. But then again, he has also just saved us. Okay, he's going to have a go at me because, you know, I'm juicy. Take your time, take your time. He poking? He's poking. Oh, good shot, scumbag. Haha. Nice. Nicely done. Ooh, Gewehr E100. That's certainly something you want to have a go at.
Enemy armor is damaged.
Okay, see that rate of fire? This rate of fire, crippling. Hits. And he's gone. Scumbag is gone. I think this kind of engagement range is probably most suited for this reload. But apart from that, everything... I think when I'm sort of... Now that I'm going to start getting close up, no chance, basically. There's their Gewehr Tiger. T-49's got that, so... Unless the T-49 gets killed by the Gewehr Tiger. No, he wastes his shot on the Königstiger, which... Actually, no. Okay, never mind. My apologies. You see, there's the vertical stabilizer coming into effect. And... Could have fired a shot off before he shot at me. Just saying. And the IS-7 is about to knock out the other tank, so I'm going to get some loser points because I want as much money out of this game as possible. And there's no way in hell I'd catch up with this. So there you can see, the reload, not so great in close up. We just about saved that one. Well done to our team for really... I mean, at first I thought we were going to lose, but well done to our team for getting us through that. We got a victory at least, so that's pretty good. I also got Duelist. 2 enemy vehicles that caused damage to my vehicle. I got a lot of... I didn't get too much. I got a fair amount of spotting, I think. Was it spotting? I'm guessing most of it was spotting. 263 in spotting. Buggered up a module inside the Königstiger. Got a couple of lucky shots off in that. Well played to our team. Well played to our opposing team, especially the heavies. They did a pretty good job. Good game for that freaking IS-7 for damn sure. Didn't do too bad myself, but not even above my hit points. So if the rate of fire could have been increased, perhaps would have had a better game. I mean, considering the amount of damage you get as well. But still, the vertical stabilizer giving a good example as to how effective it can be with that. But still, at the last moment, I could have saved myself a few hit points, but oh well. Anyway, on to the next battle. See you there. And we're back, and shockingly, we're in pretty decent matchmaking. Of course, that means that our team has to become mentally retarded, because, you know, that's what happens when you get good matchmaking in your tank. It's like, I can really show my potential and own all the lower tiers, and then all of a sudden your team is like, hang on a second, we're winning! Everyone, stop doing what you're doing! Let them win! Yeah, it does become annoying. And, oh, even better, an SU-152 with the proper gun and the ISU with the top gun. And even the freaking... Is that a 1.0? Nope, that's the proper gun for the KV-2. Whoa, my God, we've got smart people. Right, okay. Yeah, not to sound too negative on some regards, but I will say it is very much frustrating. Okay, they've got TDs going that way, and that guy's got a master on his gun, so I'm going to go support the heavy tanks going into the town. But no, I mean, my personal beef is talking a lot about beef. I might even need to make a beef episode just so that way we can all kind of rant and rave. No, it's just whenever you see an SU-152 driver using the 122, like I said in my SU-152 review, you're not really using the SU-152 properly when you're using the 122mm. Yes, you get rate of fire, but unless you're in this kind of matchmaking all the time, you're really going to struggle being able to actually hit and pen stuff. Whereas with the derp gun, you are guaranteed to do damage regardless of what tier you're at. And you're going to be seeing up to tier 9. So tier 9 tanks will still get a lot of damage from you if you use the derp gun. But if you don't, you're just going to struggle completely again and again until... Maneuverability. I knew you were looking for me, you scummy scumbags. I knew you were looking. Ooh, IS-3. Been spotted, but could I get away with a cheeky shot to the side? No, but he's been tracked, so I'll go again. You're looking, my reload's not good enough. Well done, SU-152. Scumbags going for it. I'll let the Koenigstiger go first. 12T is looking. Fire. A lot of damage. He bounces. Scumbags are going crazy for us, but we'll move up then. He read my mind! Yeah, Sarrajano de Stalina! Sarrajano de Stalina! I'll take a Churchill any day. Oh, Tiger. Bugger. Oh, really? We have a freaking ELC in our base, right? That means we've got to pick up the pace. Churchill! Mop.
Enemy armor is damaged.
That's it, Churchill. You stop. Fudge puckles. I meant to aim slightly to the left. Okay, we got the IS-2. Good to see. Good to see. Sarrajano de Stalina! Sarrajano de Stalina! This is a very nice word, I like it. Okay, our scumbags are gonna be knocked out, unfortunately. Sarrajano de Stalina. Sarrajano de Stalina. Are you paying attention? No, you're not. You're giving up. No, you just don't know what to... Oh, scheiße. Hello. Ow. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. Port Tiger 2TY. Oh, of course. He's one of those players. He's like, I lost, and you're hacking. Fudge. Yeah, you're dead. You're so dead. Kill shot. Scumbags. There be gone. Camp alone. What? Oh, his Koenigstiger. Num 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 num. Hey, there's a kill. Of course I would be having good games in the review. Of course. Right, well there's lots of tanks out there. Sarrajano de Stalina. Sarrajano. Hurrah! Land of hope and glory, eat my shell, you bastards. Stand in the way of my shit, I'm on fire. Yep, put 6, Oh, you bellend. I forgot to change this. Sod. I forgot to change the controls. Oh, son of a bitch. Scumbags, me no like. I'm pulling back. Come on, heavies. Show those balls that you were supposedly meant to have. Here we go. Bishop got my guy. No chance. Would have been hilarious if I got him. Oh, is that only just the bishop now? No idea what the bishop is. I'm going to play it safe, though. I forgot to change the controls. That's why I didn't get to... Ah, sod. Right. Handy tip. If you ever want to have a decent... if you ever want to have a ridiculously fast reaction time... Bugger. If you want to have a fast reaction time to fires with your tank, change the controls from, instead of 6, to have at spacebar. Because then when you are set alight and you have the thing... Oh, sugar plums. Oh my god, 2k damage, the first time I ever got the damn thing. Well done, KV2. GG! Could have done better if I had changed the controls, but oh well, that's better than 2 victories in 1 video, and this was live play. This was the match straight after the other one. Finally! I'm actually given something to enjoy. God damn. Well, I got a lot of spotting damage. Not proud of the fact I'm annoyed at the fact that I forgot about the fact that my controls were different on this game, but pretty satisfied with that. Didn't get the most experience, but then again, the SU-152 naturally would have got the most damage. Well done to him. Well done to our opponents as well. Well done, even though they didn't really get to do too much. The Königstiger on their side was a bit of a knob, because he just didn't... He was basically, well, a bit of a pleb, because he didn't, you know, he obviously did the very traditional heavy can only camp, when really heavy couldn't push up like the one we had on our side. But yeah, this thing... Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. You can see that it's capable of it. But I never had this when I was grinding it. So, good that this has happened, because at least it shows that despite my personal dislike of some aspects of this vehicle, if you find yourself inclined towards this line of mediuming, then the Centurion is certainly for you. So, summary time. Now, like I've said like I just said, this thing is certainly a different line of medium tank. She's a lot more... Well, she's certainly not as, you know, fast and as mobile as, say, this Comet or Centurion, but she now does have the power to really start striking back at your opponents. Unfortunately, the damage isn't great, and the rate of fire is really annoying, but if you are of a mind of this vehicle, and if you have this kind of enjoyment factor that... for some reason, I finally decided to I was finally allowed to have at the last 2 games of this thing, then this thing is certainly for you, and I definitely recommend you get it, because it's certainly a decent medium tank. I guess I'm not meant to have it like how everyone else can have it. I guess I must be one of the few people who really just don't, you know, unfortunately fate wasn't kind on when I'm grinding this thing. I mean, you will get a lot of tier 10 games, I'm not gonna lie. The matchmaking for this thing is not really good, so be prepared for that. But apart from that, this thing is more than capable of handling itself in a tier 10 game, and maybe for you, this gun and this tank is perfect. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this review. If you like this kind of content, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, clicking on the like button, and of course subscribing to the channel. If you yourself are a YouTuber, a World of Tanks player, or a World of Tanks player who does YouTube, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below to see if there's anything I could do to improve the video quality, commentary, tactics and tips, potentially how to use a Centurion, anything like that at all. Feel free to let me know to make the next episode even more awesome than the last. Thank you once again very much for watching. This is Crap Hunter signing out. I'll catch you next time.